Hello, everybody. I was just closing my door there, trying to run back in time. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I am Michelle Solis from This Must Be Ink in Seekonk, Massachusetts. And this is my 8th episode of Stamp and Flip. This is a One Sheet Wonder workshop. So we're going to use a One Sheet Wonder template. And I don't know if I even, did I print it? Oh, I don't even know if I printed it. I'm so sorry. Let me see. Oh, I don't think I did. All right, well, my apologies. I won't have it here on the desk to show you, but you've got it either on your desktop or maybe you have printed it and you have it on your desktop. So let me cut over to my template here so I can see what I'm doing. Although I think I remember because I've cut this a few times now and I should be able to remember what I'm doing. All right. So let me cut down to the camera, to the cards here and show you the cards. Oh, nothing wants to work. There we go. All right. So these are the cards that were the samples that I showed for this template. And you can see it's going to make 5 cards with each side of your paper. So from this One Sheet Wonder, you should get 10 cards if you use the pieces this way. Of course, you can choose to combine pieces on one card and then you'd have less cards, but that's completely up to you. So the whole inspiration for this particular template came from this card that I made when I did the Creativity Now workshop with Stampin' Up. They created this really pretty card that opens up. Let me show you. It's simply made out of a piece of designer series paper, and it's got a piece of cardstock here on the top, and then it opens up like this. So this is the card that I wanted to recreate with my template tonight. And that long piece that's 4 by 10 3/4 is going to create this card. We're going to do it a little bit differently though. So in this one, and you can certainly do this with your the ones that you create, they put this piece of cardstock on the front and they put a piece of ribbon around and underneath the sentiment label. And if you choose to do that, I think that will come out really pretty. But I made some cards with some woodland paper, and I just didn't think that I wanted anything sparkly, and I didn't want a lot of ribbon. So I chose to forego the ribbon. But we're going to make this layout with our template. Okay. All right. So that's this card in this little set. Just a note, and it's got the little deer on it. And then you can see my piece of designer series paper is mounted on a plain card base, which they did not do. But so I've cut this down to be a little bit smaller, and I've mounted it on a piece of cardstock. So this piece is now 4 by 10 3/4. We're going to score that. We're going to mount it on a piece of cardstock. And then I've put this sentiment, this mat on the front for my focal point with the sentiment. And then you've got some other little cards here with some other little creatures. Tonight we're going to talk about some embossing. Then this little card, which also came from a layout that was with Creativity Now, but this is a little bit different. Again, I changed it up a little bit. And then you've got this one also with some embossing. And then this one also with some embossing. Okay, so those are the cards that we're going to create tonight, or the layouts that we're going to create tonight. And we are going to be using the Days of Autumn, Sweet Days of Autumn, this paper was called. Now this is retired paper. Remember, this is the whole point of my one sheet wonder. Hi, Deb, is to go back into your stash, find some paper that you've got laying around, and let's use it up. So this particular paper is called Sweet Days of Autumn. I don't even remember where this paper came from. I think it might have been part of a scrapbooking kit. I'm not sure. But anyway, I never opened it. And so it's got 3 patterns. You would have gotten 4 sheets of 3 patterns. So I've done, you just saw the set of cards with this pattern, which is the plaid. That's, I think this is Early Espresso and Petal Pink. The other side are these little trees, really cute. Then you've got this piece, which are some little kind of like twigs, like a twig pattern. And then the other side is this pretty green pattern, just an all over pattern. Oh, it doesn't want to focus tonight. And then this last sheet has some trees. And then on the other side has all the cute little animals. And you can see that from my cards, this is where I got all the little animals. I fussy cut those little animals out of one of the sheets of this paper. So we're going to use this paper tonight to make our cards. All right, so we've used the other 2. It's time to use this one with the animals. All right, so this particular piece of paper, this side, the animals are all going in different directions. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Lorraine. But the other side of the paper is directional. So you want your trees to be going up and down. So I'm going to cut it looking at this side so that I make sure that I have got a good piece to create this card. Because when you open it, depending on which side your trees are going to be on, you want it to be, the trees to be up and down the right way. Okay? All right, so the first thing we're going to do is, as always, we're going to cut this right in half at 6 inches. I'm going to put one piece aside, and we're going to cut our pieces with this side, and we're going to make the cards tonight with this side. All right, so we've got our little trees. So the first cut on here that you want to make is this 4-inch cut at the top. So we're going to put it at 4 inches, and we're going to cut straight down. So now you should have a piece that's 4 by 12. And then we're going to cut that at 10 3/4. So we're going to take our arm out, and we're going to put it at 10 3/4. Maybe. There we go. And we're going to just cut the bottom off there. So you're going to end up with a piece that is 1 1/4. And yes, if you didn't want to put your arm out, you could just cut off 1 1/4. All right, so we're going to put those aside. And then this piece, this little strip, this is going to be 2 inches wide. And our first piece is going to be 3 1/2. So we'll have a piece that is 2 by 3 1/2. Set that aside. And then you're going to cut this for this piece that's left over. We're going to cut that at 4 1/4. And then we should have another piece the same. That is 2 by 4 1/4. We should have 2 of those. Okay, so those are our pieces that we'll be working with tonight. All right, so let's work on this card first. We are going to take this 10 3/4 inch piece, and we're going to score it for this card. So we are going to score that. Let me not mess up my directions. One moment. Going down here. Okay, so just full disclosure, I think I made a mistake on the template. And I think I said 1 1/2. We're going to score at 1 1/2 and 6 1/2, but it's 1 1/2 and 6 3/4. So I will have to remove that post and put up another post with the revised instructions. So that'll be on the instructions where the pictures of the cards are. Okay, so we're going to score this at 1.5 and 6 3/4. Now we want to make sure that when we do this, that we are folding it the right way. So we're going to be using the tree pieces. So we want the tree pattern to be on the outside here. So we're going to want to turn this over, but if you just turn it over where it's going the right way and you fold it, you're going to see your trees are going to be upside down. So you want to turn it all the way around if you have a directional piece, so that when you fold this over, that's going to be the top, your trees will be going the right way. Okay, so that's going to be our first score. Is going to be 1.5. And then your next score will be 6 3/4. So if you're going to take your arm out, you'll go up to 6 3/4 and score. If you don't want to do that, you can turn the paper and score it at 4. Okay. Hopefully I didn't lose you right there. All right, so then we should have this piece that's going to fold down and then fold up and become our little card. Let me find my bone folder. Why am I never ready? Oh my goodness. Oh no. I have a bag of goodies. Oh, it's in there. It's in there. I see it. Okay. All right. So here's our folded piece. Now, as I said, we're going to mount that on a card base that is flat, and that is going to be 4 1/4. 4 1/4 by 5.5. So we're just going to mount that directly on there. Now, if you're going to want to do it with the ribbon, like this one, you'll want to put your ribbon around your designer series paper before you glue it down. But we're not using ribbon tonight. We're going to keep it simple because this is just simple, cute paper. All right, we're going to just mount this on here. And that becomes our card base. Okay. All right, so then this is the little piece that will mount on the front. And I wanted to talk a little bit about embossing. So this piece is embossed with a retired folder that is called Leaf Fall. Because this is autumn paper and with all the leaves and little woodland animals, I decided to drag this one out and do some embossing. Embossing is going to put a nice design on your paper without having to stamp it. But it adds a little bit of interest instead of just having a plain piece mounted to the front. So we're going to emboss this real quick. Let's move this up. And I dropped everything. One moment. This is how my day's been going today. One moment. All right. So we've got our embossing platform and you've got your embossing folder. So you're going to put your little piece of paper inside your embossing folder. Stampin' Up! Has a line at the bottom so that you can line your little piece of paper up right to there and it'll be straight. But if that is not the pattern that you want, then you want to move your paper around. So you can see on this one that I've got the leaves on the bottom left corner. So what I'm going to do is turn my paper and go this way so I can get the leaves on that side of the paper. And I'm going to move it down a little bit so we can get more leaves. Oh, you can't even see me. So we're going to mount it, put it in there this way so that our leaves are coming down that side. Okay. Then you will put it into your die cut and emboss machine. And you're just going to roll that through with your platform and your, I don't know what these are called, your embossing plate. And you should get a piece that's got a nice pattern to it. Okay, and that's what we're going to use for the front of this card. See if I can put that down without dropping everything. All right. Okay, so that's going to mount right here on the front of our card. So a little trick to get this lined up properly. We want it to just come to the top edge of our designer series paper. So get it where you want it and then flip it over. And you are going to just put glue up here. You can see that you don't want to go below this fold or you will stick it together and it won't be able to open. So we just want some glue on the top part here. And then just turn it around and line it up again to the edge and should be good. Okay, so now we just need a little sentiment. And did I bring my sentiment pieces? No, I am just not ready tonight, people. Don't know what's going on. All right, we're gonna fake it till we make it here. Okay, one more. Look, I found a little thing in my thing here. I'm gonna use that little stamp because I forgot my little circles. All right, so we're going to stamp our little sentiment here. And we're going to use, I don't know if just a note is going to fit in there. So let's use hello. And then we're going to use some mossy meadow. To coordinate. And then we've got a little animal. So the little animals that were in this paper are the little bears and the hedgehogs and the owls and the deer and the little foxes. So cute. So we will get some dimensionals, which I thought I already took out. Yep, I did. For our sentiment. And then put a little animal on here. Let's just go with the deer again, because that was really cute. Okay, so there you go. So you've got this first card that looks like that, and you're going to put your sentiment piece inside, or your mat inside for your sentiment, which will be 5 1/4 by 4. And do I have a piece? I think I do. And then I lost my glue. Yep. It's amazing how you can lose stuff where you don't even move. It's like it was right here a second ago. All right. And then we'll just put our at inside. Oh, it's too big. It's too big. It's too big. One moment. Because this piece is a little bit smaller. These are 4 by 5 1/4, and I need, what do I need? 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. So we need to trim this down. Is it following my own directions? 4 3/4. Okay, so trim that down to fit inside. And that looks too small, but we're going with it. Okay, the correct dimensions are on the directions, but apparently I can't cut things properly tonight, so it's a little small now. It's okay. Better too small than too big. All right, so there we go. Here's our first card. Okay, so the second card is going to be this one. Let's get our little card here. Our Thinking of You card. And so we've got a card piece that's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 scored at 4 1/4. And we've got another mat with our fall leaf print on it. And then we're going to be using our DSP strip that is 1 1/4 by 4. So that little piece that you cut off the bottom of your long piece is going to go right in the middle. Kind of just like a little belt on the card there. Just right across. And then you need a sentiment piece, which I have again lost. I'm going to use this one right here. And we're going to put another little bear in the middle. I was almost double thinking that, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right, so the little guy is going in the middle. So on the original card, I stamped my sentiment on the card mat because it was a light color. So in this particular case, I would either have to emboss up here, leave it blank, or we could use another piece to create a sentiment that goes up in the corner or underneath here. So let's do that. All right, so we've got Thinking of You. Let me find him. So the stamp set that I'm using for sentiments tonight is the Simply Said set. And this is a current set. It's got just some nice, simple little sentiments that I thought would be perfect for these cards. Oh, hi, Cynthia. Thanks for joining. And hi, Bobby from Virginia. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we're going to do Thinking of You. And we need some scissors. Okay, I'm just going to quick cut this out and just hope it's straight. I should have pre-cut some sentiment pieces and I forgot. All right, so we're going to do some dimensionals on the back, just a couple. And then we're just going to put that, I think it's going to go down here. There. So that's your second piece of designer series paper, just this little strip across the middle. All right. So the next card is the one with the little strips. So this is going to be this card. This was also inspired by a card from the Creativity Now workshop with Stampin' Up. So what we're going to do is create these three little strips. So we're going to take this piece that is the 3 3/4 by 4 1/4 piece. No, that's not right. It's the 5. It's the 3. What is it? It's the 3 1/2. No, it's not. Hang on. I don't know. Let me just measure it. It's 2. 2 by 3 1/2. Oh my goodness. But we're going to make it 5/8 by 3 1/2. Okay. So what we're doing is we're going to cut strips. So we're going to put this at 5/8. And we're going to cut it. So that will make one piece 5/8 by 3 1/2. And we're going to do that again. And then this last piece is just going to be a smidge too big. So we're going to put it at 5/8. And just cut off a smidge. And we're just going to throw that away. So you should have these three pieces now. All right. And this was from your 2 by 3 1/2 strip of DSP. Okay. Where are my pieces here? Okay. So we'll have a card base that's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Then you're going to have a little card mat. This is the 3 3/4 by 4 1/4. And then you'll have your little strips of designer series paper. Okay. So this little piece is going to fit on here. But before we put it on here, we're going to put the strips on. So what I decided to do was turn one of them. I'm using the tree side first, and then we're going to put the little side with the little animals, and then the trees. So let's see if we can find one that's got better little animals. Let's use this one. At least we can see the little bear face. So we'll use the trees. And you can see the little face of the bear. And then we'll do the trees. Okay. And then on this one, I think we can stamp directly to the card stock for our sentiment. And we're just going to do Thinking of You again in the Mossy Meadow. What did I do on the other one? Oh, I did a thank you. I like to have just general sentiments so that I can send it to anybody for any situation. Because, you know, if you're sending a card to somebody, you are thinking of them. Okay, so we're going to get these on there. And then on the inside of your card, you can write happy birthday or congratulations or whatever is going on. So we're going to line that one up, try to get an even border around the three sides here. And then we'll put our next piece on. With a little bear face. Oh, Lorraine's saying they lost me. Oh boy, what happened? I don't know what's going on. All right, well, I'm hoping that we're back. If we're not back, let me know. I'm not sure if you're back, and I'm not sure if you missed anything. Okay, well, right now I've got my 2 strips stuck down and I've stamped my sentiment. And I'm not seeing any comments, so I'm not sure if we're back or not. Well, we'll just cross our fingers, which is hard while you're making a card, but you know, in my mind, I'll be crossing my fingers. Okay, so then we've got our little strips on there with our sentiment, and then we'll just add that to our card. And I'm going to pop this up so that gives it a little bit of dimension and a little bit more interest. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not seeing any comments there. So I am not sure if we are back yet. I'm just going to keep going. And if I check Facebook and it is not on there, then I will have to do it again or do a video for you guys. But let's continue and finish these cards. Okay, so that is this one. And you can see I added a little critter over here. So maybe we can add, should we put the little bear? Or is that too many bear faces? Let's see. We could put the little fox again. He would be cute. Now let's put the fox. He's a different color. All right, so we're going to pop them up as well. So he'll stand out a little bit. And there you go. So that is that one. All right. The next card is the one of the ones that uses your 2 by 4 1/4 piece. And that is going to be this one. So on this sample, I embossed the background. This embossing folder is current. And it's called Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder. So it just makes this really cool plaid design on your paper that I thought would be cute to coordinate with the plaid of this paper. So I did the same plaid here. And I think it's going to go with the trees just as well. So we're going to put this down onto our card base. Get our embossed piece on there first. Okay, and then we will put our designer series paper onto our little focal mat. And this should be the same length. So you're just going to get some cardstock on either side. Okay, just want to line that up. It should go from top to bottom here. And then that is going to mount to your card base. Okay, and then we can put a little sentiment on the front here. So let's grab a little piece of cardstock, and this is the basic white. And I'm going to do the same little sentiment that I just think is so adorable. It says, "Yay!" So we're going to just stamp that. I think it's adorable that they took the time and the energy to make a tiny little stamp that says "Yay." I think it might be one of my favorites. All right, so we're going to just get this right on the front of the card, like that. And right there in the middle. And then we're going to use this teeny tiny little bird that I can't believe I even had the dexterity to cut out of the paper. But here he is. And he's going to go right on top right there. There you go. So that is the fourth card. And then the last card that we're going to do is with your last piece of 2 by 4 1/4, and that is this one. So we've got, again, a card base that is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4, and we've got a mat that is 4 by 4 1/2. That's going to fit on here like this. And we're going to just put our designer series paper right to the side. Of course, you could go in the middle. You could go on this side. Can't go that way. All right. So here we go. We'll just put this. This again is embossed with our plaid embossing folder. We'll just mount this and try to get, again, the same distance, same spacing around the 3 edges here. And then just mount that to our card base. Okay, and then we just want to put a sentiment on with another one of our little animals. So let's get a little bit thicker sentiment. As I said, usually I will cut some sentiment pieces for these, but I totally forgot tonight. So we're just winging it, but we can make a little banner ourselves. So let's do another thinking of you, and we'll create a banner with that. Won't be quite as fancy, but it'll be pretty. All right, so we'll stamp some thinking of you here. And then we will just create a banner with our snips. So let's cut this off. See if we can make it about the same distance there. Might be a little shorter. All right, and then what you're going to do is take your snips and you will try and find the middle and just snip right up the middle. Then you'll go from this edge to the top of that cut. And then you'll do the same this edge to the top of that cut. And then you're going to do that on the same thing on the other side. Snip in, go from the corner to the top of that cut, and then from this corner to the top of that cut. And you've created a banner very much like this banner. It just doesn't have the little punched dots there. So thinking of you, grab some dimensionals for that one. And I'm going to move it over a smidge so we can fit our little animal there. And maybe this time we'll do a little owl. I love him. We are partial to owls at Audubon, so you know why I love him. There you go. So there is your 5th card. And of course, you're going to put your inside pieces of white inside so you can stamp or write your sentiment inside. Okay, my goodness. Well, a lot went on with this broadcast. We'll see if it's going to be in its entirety on Facebook or not. Anyways, I may have to redo it for Facebook. Okay, so that's it for me tonight. I will do cards with the other half of the paper and show those to you. But let me show you the ones that I did with the other sides of the other pieces of Designer Series paper. Oh, I got that piece stuck to my card. All right. So this paper with the plaid, the other side of that was this with the little trees. So let me show you those. I did this particular card with that 5 1/4 by 4 mat. This time I embossed it with some trees, you can see. And then you've got the little tree piece across the front there. And then I added a little bow to this one just to give it a little bit more, I don't know, make it a little fancier. Here's the one with the little strips. This time I ripped the ends of the strips and then attached them to the card front, stamped the sentiment, and added my little animal. And this is the one with the 4 1/4 piece, 2 by 4 1/4, matted on that card mat with the sentiment on a little round sentiment with the little fox and a bow. And then there's this one, again, the 2 by 4 1/4 piece mounted, this time with a little bear. Okay, so that was that. And then the piece that was green that had the twigs on the other side. So this is those cards. All right, so this is the one that opens, the 10 3/4 piece. Thinking of you. That's that one. And this is Old Olive that I've used here. And then this one, we've taken one of the 4 1/4 by 2 pieces and just mounted it on a piece that was 4 1/4 by 2 1/4, I think, so that you just get some cardstock showing at the top and the bottom. And I used the coordinating color, the Cajun Craze here for that one. And then we added a little bit of twine. And here's this one with the strips. This time I went, instead of going landscape, we went portrait and added some twine again to that one. And here's this one. This time I made a smaller mat here. Let's see how big this mat is. This one is 2 3/4 by 4. And I embossed the mat after I put the Designer Series paper on there. So the whole thing is embossed with the sentiment and a little bear. And then this last one, this is one of my favorites. So this one is one of the 4 1/4 by 2 pieces that I did landscape. And then I did a little piece of Cajun craze and some little circles with those tiny little birds. So what I did also want to show you was with that paper, because the little images are so small, if you have a paper with really tiny images, you can cut them out like this with a little circle punch and put them on, or you can just make some little circles and stick your images on there. So that was this one with the little birds. Okay, and then the other side with the twigs, here's that 10 3/4 inch piece. And then here's one of the 2 by 4 1/4 pieces, mounted a little bit differently on a card mat that I believe is 3 3/4 by 4 1/4, 5. I lied. 3 3/4 by 5 with some twine. And remember to put your twine on before you mount it to your card front. Then another one, this is another 4 1/4 by 2 piece, mounted to a little piece that is just a 1/4 inch taller and wider, again with some twine before mounting it to the card base. Thank you guys for finding me on, I'm assuming you're coming in on YouTube. So thank you so much. I'm sorry about whatever happened with Facebook. But yes, I'll have to let everybody know that they can see the continuous thing on YouTube tonight. Okay, so there's that one. And then here's another one with the little strips on, instead of doing it the same color as the card base, this time I used the opposite color or the coordinating color, and then used the strips with some twine around this time. These are got a little fancier as I went along. And then this one was the, oh, I don't know, is this the 1 3/4? 1 1/4 by 4 inch piece. And so I mounted this on a little mat that is 3 1/4 by 4 to just take up a little half of the card. And then this time I cut out some of the little trees and put them on there. So there's a bunch of different ways to use your strips that you get from this template. You just have to use your imagination and cut some pieces of cardstock that will coordinate and see what you can come up with. Okay, so I look forward to seeing your card creations. I hope that you guys will try the template. I love this card. So I think this is a lot of fun, whether you do it with the ribbon or not. I think this is a very different type of card. I think someone will really enjoy getting that. And then you can see what you can come up with your other strips. I look forward to seeing what kind of paper you use and what you come up with. All right, so let's get out of here. Hi. And we'll go back over here. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining and then rejoining. Hopefully there is a continuous video on YouTube. I will double check that. I may have to do it all over again. We'll see. I do have some more paper. I can still make some more cards. Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much. Regardless, you can find the template, you can find the cards with all the measurements on my Crafty Kraken Create page. And use your own DSP. Grab a piece that has been sitting around that you don't know what to do with, cut it in half, make some cards with both sides. So I will make the cards tonight with the little animals, and I will put them up on Facebook so that you can see what I came up with for the other half of the paper. Okay. All right. So you need to join me again next month. Let me see what the date is going to be, because I can't reach my calendar from over here. All right. September, the date will be the 17th. So it's the third Wednesday in each month. So it'll be Wednesday, September 17th for the next episode of Stamp and Flip. And we will do another one sheet wonder with another 12 by 12 piece of paper. All right. So thank you guys so much. Sorry for the inconvenience of having to go back and forth and try and find me. And you guys stay crafty, my friends, and I will see you on Friday for Stamp and Sip. Have a good night.